While the G7 nations are squabbling, BRICS is expanding its dominance across the world, and there are currently 40 nations from all across the world wanting to join the new alliance. From October 22nd until October 24th, 2024, Russia will host the BRICS Summit in the city of Kazan. Earlier this year, from June 13th until June 23rd, Kazan was also the host of the BRICS Sports Games. 2,852 athletes from 82 countries, including European nations, competed for a total of 387 medals. The first BRICS Games were held in 2017. There were no BRICS Games during 2019, 2020, and 2021 because of the pandemic, and 2024 marks the Games' 5th edition. The top 3 nations during these games were Russia, Belarus, and China. During the event, the BRICS Ministers of Sport held a meeting where joint training was discussed. An event like this is crucial for the development of BRICS as a brand, and sporting events with the exchanges of coaches and specialists, along with joint working group sessions, are a must. As you can see, BRICS is growing in popularity, and that's probably because the alliance has also been growing in size. The original organization was founded in 2009 with just 4 members. Brazil, Russia, India, and China added South Africa. For almost 15 years, the BRICS alliance stayed closed to new members. But all of that changed in 2024 during the 15th BRICS Summit held in August 2023. In front of all the member states, as well as the world, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, announced that BRICS will be smashing that like button, just like you should, if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, he announced that BRICS will be expanding their borders. They've sent membership invites to 6 countries, including Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, or UAE. The 6 new members were supposed to join the alliance on January 1st, 2024 at the start of the new year. But something changed. Saudi Arabia announced that they would not be joining the group like BRICS planned, nor would they deny the invitation outright. Saudi Arabia needed time to decide whether or not it wanted to join the new economic alliance of the Southern Hemisphere. Halfway across the world, Argentina declared something similar. Guess that's what happens when a different president wins the national elections. As soon as Javier Milei stepped into office, Argentina announced they would be withdrawing their membership application. But those are just 2 countries out of 6. And if the China Daily is to be believed, there are a lot more countries interested in joining the alliance that is trying to build a more equitable and just world order that's not dominated by the West. After the expansion wave in 2024, more countries are lining up to join BRICS. Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE have added over $1 trillion in net worth, bringing the total annual GDP output for the 9 countries to $28.5 trillion. China accounts for around 2/3 of that GDP, with $17.96 trillion. They might be the largest in terms of GDP, but they don't hold all the reins. For example, Iran, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia would hold around 44% of the world's crude oil. Plus, with the 2 most populous countries in this alliance, BRICS represents 45% of the global population, or around 3.5 billion people. And this is just the beginning. BRICS plans to strategically expand its borders, including nations that want to join, but also inviting nations that meet the BRICS criteria for membership. While the entire world is focused on the G7 countries and the West, BRICS has slowly been expanding its influence over the world's southern hemisphere. First, it was BRIC, then it expanded to BRICS, and now they'll probably be changing the name to BRICS Plus to account for all the other nations joining the new alliance. Few people know the alliance even exists, but they represent the biggest economic power in the world. And these 4 new recruits are less than 10% of the countries waiting to be admitted to the BRICS alliance. Why are they waiting? Well, BRICS has its standards. Similar to the European Union, BRICS also has set standards for admission. Besides the group's guiding principles like understanding, equality, solidarity, inclusiveness, cooperation, support, and the rest, there are certain standards and criteria each new member must meet before they can join BRICS. First, they have to be aligned with the BRICS principles. Then, they have to be an emerging or developing nation with regional, or better yet, global influence. They also have to be a member state of the United Nations and committed to upholding international law. Speaking of the UN, BRICS clearly states that they want countries who would help them to reform and improve some institutions of the UN, like the Security Council, making it more democratic, effective, efficient, and representative. The country must have sustainable development goals, but also be a big trading partner with some or all of the BRICS member states. Once these and many other criteria are met, then comes the procedure for membership expansion of BRICS. To explain it simply, there are 4 parts to BRICS expansion. First, a country needs to show interest in joining. Second, that country needs to make sure it meets the BRICS criteria. Third, BRICS will send an invitation to that state to join the alliance. And fourth, the country accepts the invitation and becomes a member. To show interest, the foreign minister, or better yet the country's leader, needs to communicate interest in joining to the BRICS chair. The BRICS chair then informs the other member states about the potential new member. They will share the expansion criteria and the procedures with the prospective country, but all communication will be confidential. If the country is interested and meets the criteria, the BRICS Sherpa, a think tank of foreign ministers from BRICS member states, will make a recommendation to the BRICS foreign ministers. The BRICS foreign ministers talk about the country, and if it's a prospective state, they will recommend it to the BRICS leaders. The leaders, with consultation and consensus, will decide where the discussed country should join the alliance. Once all the members reach a consensus, they will send an invitation for admission, turning them into an invited BRICS member state. Once the leader or foreign minister of this country formally accepts the invitation, the country then becomes a BRICS member state. This is the standard process that the alliance followed with the 6 new prospective states that showed interest in joining the alliance. But like we said earlier, only 4 of them actually joined BRICS, and 40 other countries showed interest. As the countries in the Southern Hemisphere strive for a more just and equitable world, the appeal of BRICS is ever increasing. Recently, Zimbabwe, an African country, announced they're interested in joining BRICS. Their foreign minister went to the world majority for a multipolar world forum held in Russia and publicly stated his country's interest in joining. Not only is Zimbabwe looking for access to new markets, but they're also looking for bigger investment opportunities. Some Kenyan experts pointed out that the BRICS alliance would be an ideal choice for Zimbabwe, since they would respect the nation's unique internal conditions, while also opening new markets for Zimbabwe's natural resources, something they couldn't do with their Western allies because of heavy sanctions. According to the South African ambassador to Russia, there aren't 40 but 25 countries that are waiting to be accepted to BRICS, and it seems like they will be accepted during the Kazan summit this year. According to the South African ambassador, in Kazan, it goes without saying that there will be new members who would be joining. There were all in all close to about 25 all in all who indicated that they are ready to join BRICS. Out of those 25, it seems like 12 will be joining the alliance, since they were the ones considered. The official number of candidates will be clear by Kazan Summit this October, and the alliance will expand its borders once again. Countries like Pakistan, Algeria, and Belarus will probably be joining BRICS and increasing the power of the alliance. Since they cannot accept every country that applies to the alliance, the BRICS expansion will be a slow and gradual process. And for all those countries that won't be accepted this year, they're going to be considered for the next BRICS summit, which will probably be held in Brazil. At the time being, there's no way they can all be accepted. So in the next years, we will be seeing more and more countries like Kazakhstan, Bolivia, Indonesia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and many more joining the ranks. Bolivia's president has stated that the country wants to join BRICS and limit or cut off dependence on the US dollar. Instead, they will rely on the Chinese yuan in foreign trade. There are many reasons why all of these countries are waiting to join BRICS. For one, BRICS is working on building institutions like the NDB, or New Development Bank. Unlike the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, the NDB is not dominated by Western economic superpowers. This way, smaller member states could get the financial support they need without reliance on the West. These nations no longer have to follow the policies of the West. They are fighting for better representation and have greater influence on global issues and policies. The IMF and the World Bank might be good for Europe and North America, but it's not good for developing nations who simply want a balanced world order. Before the creation of BRICS, there was no real alternative to the Western institutions and alliances. Nations were either with them or they were alone. But BRICS has changed that. Now, emerging nations can be part of a more inclusive and balanced economic system that is equal for nations worldwide. With the BRICS expansion now possible, the international system will be changing for good. By widening its borders, BRICS promotes stability among member states who can trade freely with each other. It's only a matter of time before more nations join the ranks.